You didn't lose a relationship. You lost the ending you deserved. And your brain has been trying to write that ending every single day since the moment they vanished. You know exactly what this feels like. The phone is on the table. Face up. You have checked it 14 times in the last hour. The last message is still there. Yours, sitting in that delivered bubble. Read, unanswered. Blue ticks that said everything, without saying a single word. And you go back. You always go back, rereading, scanning every sentence for the thing that broke it, the word you chose wrong, the moment it shifted. Was it something I did? Was it something I am? This is not a story about someone not texting back. This is about what happens inside you when someone vanishes and leaves you holding a silence that was never yours to carry. I'm going to tell you exactly why that is, and by the time I finish, you will never call yourself dramatic again. Here is what nobody says out loud. A breakup, even a devastating one, gives you something, a moment, a conversation, a reason you can hold and say, "This is where it ended. This is where I stopped being chosen." Ghosting takes that from you completely. No reason, no conversation, no final word, just absence. A door that closed without sound, an erasure with no explanation attached, and your mind, which cannot survive without resolution, does the only thing it knows how to do. It fills the silence, and it doesn't go looking for the generous explanation. It doesn't land on "they were scared," or "they didn't know how." It goes straight to the worst one, the one it always finds when the evidence disappears. I wasn't worth the conversation. I was not enough to deserve an ending. That is not a dramatic response. That is precisely what disappearance communicates to a nervous system that needed an answer and received nothing but silence. You are not being dramatic. You are unmet. Feel where this actually lives. Not in your thoughts, in your body. That specific heaviness. The one that sits just below your ribs and will not fully lift. The tightness that floods into your throat the moment a notification arrives, and for half a second, you think it's them, and it isn't. The crash that follows that half second, that is not weakness. That is your body running a survival scan. Because something it was wired to need, resolution, never arrived. And your nervous system cannot file this away as finished. It keeps the case open. It keeps scanning. The worst part? You checked their Instagram. You saw they posted at 11 p.m. You know they're alive. You know they have their phone. You know they just chose silence. And your brain took that information and did something with it immediately. That voice is also the system. The shame and the scanning, they are the same loop. One turned outward, searching for them. One turned inward, destroying you. Both running on the same unresolved question. You're not broken. You are unsettled. And those are not the same thing. Stay with me for 60 seconds. What I am about to say. Nobody has ever said this to you directly, and you have needed to hear it for a very long time. I don't want you to think about this person right now. I want you to go back further. There was a room. You were small, maybe 5, maybe 7, and you needed something, not something dramatic, just to be seen, to be received, to have someone turn toward you and register that you were there. And the person who was supposed to do that was elsewhere. Not cruel, not absent, just unreachable, physically present and 1,000 miles away. You moved toward them. Maybe you reached for a hand. Maybe you just stood in the doorway, and there was no response. Not a rejection, not a refusal, just nothing. An absence where presence was supposed to be. A hollowness where safety was supposed to live. And in that nothing, before you had a single word for what was happening, something got written into you. I am too much. I am not enough to hold their attention. Love is something I have to earn by becoming quieter, smaller, easier. You were a child. You could not have chosen this. It was not a decision. It was absorbed, silently, completely, permanently, in the years before you had language to argue with it. And those beliefs do not stay in childhood. They grow up with you. They come with you into every room, every relationship, every conversation where someone takes too long to reply, every silence that braces you before the answer arrives. The person who ghosted you did not create this wound. They found one that was already there. Let me say it plainly. No softening. No preamble. I am not worth a response. That is the belief, written in you before you were old enough to argue with it. This is not your personality. This is not your truth. This is a scar, and a scar is not character. A scar is evidence of something that happened to you, evidence of survival. There is a difference, and that difference is everything. And that scar has been working. Every time someone takes a second too long to respond, it wakes up. Every time a notification arrives and it isn't them, it runs the scan. Every relationship you've been in, it was already there before they arrived. Deciding, interpreting, preparing for the ending before anything has ended. Now I need you to answer this honestly. Has this person, in actual words, in a real conversation, ever told you that you are not worth their time? In most cases, the answer is no. That's the one. The scar answered before they ever had the chance. So what do you actually do tonight when the phone is face up and the silence is loud and the spiral is already pulling you under? The instinct, and I need you to hear this, is to build a case, to go back through every conversation, find the mistake, locate the moment you lost them. It feels like preparation, like if you can just find the error, you can make sure you are never this unmet again. That is not protection. That is the scar looking for proof. Stop. Say these 3 sentences out loud, right now if you need to. I am having a feeling. The feeling is old. I am safe right now. Then ask yourself one question. What do I actually know to be true right now? Not fear, not the spiral, not the 2 a.m. version of this story. What do I know? Every single time you choose this, instead of the loop, you're rewriting a response that was written before you were old enough to write it yourself. Put your hand on your chest right now. That feeling right there is not damage. That is you choosing how this ends, not in one night, but permanently. Before I go, just stay here for one more second. You found this video. You stayed this long. That is not nothing. That is a kind of quiet courage that doesn't get named enough. The fact that this hurts you this much does not mean you are too sensitive. It does not mean you love dangerously. It does not mean you are built for this kind of pain. It means you are someone who still believes, despite everything, that real connection is worth feeling deeply about. That is not your wound. That is your capacity, and that is worth protecting. If something in this video landed, save it. It belongs to you. Share it with someone who needs to stop blaming themselves tonight. Most people who find this channel find it at 2 a.m. They weren't searching for a psychology video. They were searching for someone to say, "You're not too much." If that's you tonight, you're in the right place. Subscribe, because what I have to say next, you needed to hear a long time ago.